Well, folks, here we are again. Yes, it's another week of Ben After Dark. It's been another week filled with near-death experiences from the President of the United States. First, he randomly wandered away from a group of other unpopular leaders of the G7 to go talk to a parachutist, who I have to assume Grandpa thought was some sort of alien invader dropping in from the planet Teller Prime.
Alien man, I ever tell you about Gorn, Bob? Don't try to shoot that bad man with the laser. He'll show you what's what. Where am I?
Then he appeared at another fundraiser where he appeared to freeze, in a type of glitch that could only be fixed by blowing into the open side of an original Nintendo game. President Obama then had to grab his hand and guide him off the stage. President Obama has now signed up as a visiting angel, I have to assume. The White House, in a sad attempt to pretend that none of this actually happened, has been calling out those who are nefariously posting actual video of the actual president actually sundowning. They say it's all out of context, insisting that the full unedited videos show Joe Biden doing back handsprings while reciting the periodic table backwards. They say these clips are, wait for it, cheap fakes. Not deep fakes, cheap fakes. Like Joe Biden's hair plugs. Yeah, those were not a good deal. Anyway, all this gaslighting isn't going to work. We all know Joe Biden is old because, unlike Joe Biden, we don't have cataracts and stage 2 dementia. Luckily, the White House has backup for the old man, however, Kamala Harris, genius of geniuses. This week, she explained how community banks work with the ease and grace of a drunk UFC fighter learning ballet. Count how many times she says community in defining what a community bank does.
The importance of community banks is they are, as they are called, they're in the community, led by members of the community. People who understand the capacity of the community, the needs of the community, the culture of the community.
This lady talks like a fifth grader who's been called on for a book report when they didn't read the book.
Specific point of view on things, Cynthia.
The White House also spent the week welcoming celebrities like Jonathan Van Ness. He's the dude who wears dresses from Queer Eye for the Straight Guy, and also is still better at being press secretary than Karine Jean-Pierre.
Welcome today, everyone, to the White House. I'd like to briefly answer some questions. Go ahead, I'm ready.
JVN.
Oh, yes.
Is it true that is all your natural hair?
Yes, I can confirm that this is not a wig.
The good news is Jonathan Van Ness will be giving Joe Biden a makeover. The bad news is that afterward, he'll look like this. Still more of a woman than Rachel Levine. And speaking of pandering and slow Joe, it was announced on Tuesday the current administration would be taking on price gouging by banning hidden junk fees, citing credit card, late, and overdraft fees, and now requiring cable, airline, hotel, and ticket companies to tell customers the total price up front. Listen, I know everyone likes paying less for something, but let's call this what it is: real, transparent election year bullshit, dead in the middle of losing in almost every early poll against Trump. The old give a kid a lollipop before you take his blood type of move. But since America is wising up and realizing the harmful ways of Joe Biden is promising to solve all of our consumer needs, which means next, he'll be taking on the crisis of our age, bringing together two lifelong rivals for the very first time, creating a unity and peace no one thought was possible. Joe Biden will finally facilitate productive talks between the hot dog industry and the titans at the hot dog bun factory. He will finally make it, so you can buy 12 hot dog wieners and 12 hot dog buns at the same time. So you'll no longer be stuck with paying for 4 extra buns you'll never use before they get stale. A true political miracle. Whoever thought this could happen in our lifetime? Slow Joe, that's who. God bless America, and God bless hot dogs and hot dog buns. We'll get to more on this in just a moment. First, Saudi Arabia recently ended its 50-year petrodollar deal with the United States, which does have the potential to weaken the U.S. dollar. Since 1974, Saudi Arabia has sold oil solely in U.S. dollars, which was big for our global economic dominance. Well, now they're looking at other options. If there is less demand for the U.S. dollar over time, what happens to its value? For reasons like this, I think it's important to diversify some of your savings into gold. You can do that with the help of my friends over at Birch Gold. For over 20 years, Birch Gold Group has helped tens of thousands of Americans to protect their savings by converting an IRA or 401k into an IRA in physical gold. To learn more, text BEN to 989898. Claim your free, no-obligation info kit on gold. Birch Gold has earned my trust with their education-first approach, as well as the trust of thousands of happy customers. They understand that navigating financial decisions can be scary. That's why their dedicated in-house IRA department is there to guide you every step of the way. Protect your savings with gold. Text BEN to 989898 to talk to one of Birch Gold's experts and claim your free info kit today. That's BEN to 989898. Text BEN to 989898. Well, in Star Wars land, where Kathleen Kennedy and the crew are hellbent on proving that South Park is a documentary,
put a chick in it, make her gay.
The geniuses at Disney have a new series out, from the most famous IP in history. It's called The Acolyte. It's apparently about how the Force, as manipulated by lesbian space witches, creates life.
Power of one, the power of two, the power of many.
Fans are unhappy. This atrocity has a Rotten Tomatoes fan score of like 15%, but critics love it. They particularly love scenes like this, where rocks catch fire. Also, where fires burn in space. This is what happens when you put ladies in charge of the engineering. I guess this is also a universe far, far away where two ladies can make babies using the Force. So yeah, nature has nothing to do with any of this. Now, none of this should be a big surprise.
People have told me that it's the gayest Star Wars, and I frankly...
You're offended?
Into it. No.
The creator of the show has said it's the gayest Star Wars ever, which is really selling Jar Jar Binks short.
These are going to hurt you, sir.
But with the radical unpopularity of the show, we're back to Disney blaming the toxic fandom, which is a weird take when Star Wars fans are some of the most loyal fans of all. I mean, we were all willing to come back for more, even after The Last Jedi. More! But not anymore. Fans have had enough. They're nowhere to be found, just like missing person Ellen Page. Well, as we've mentioned, as you've noticed, because it's just everywhere, it is still Pride Month. This particular Pride Month, which has felt like half a year, I think we're honestly bordering on Pride Century at this point, has been marked by an enormous amount of focus on street signs. No, not that street sign. We're talking about a street sign in Silver Lake, California, which for those who don't know, is like West Hollywood if West Hollywood grew an ironic mustache and spent $13 on a coffee. Well, this genius city has discovered that no U-turn signs are homophobic. Let's let one of the brilliant legislative minds of the city council explain.
I was also surprised that these U-turn signs were still up. And at first, they seem a little, okay, it's just a no U-turn sign. But when you learn the history of it and you realize that these were used to profile gay people, it's so important that we have these removed.
Yes, that person has named himself Maebe A girl, which he for sure is not. But apparently it is now homophobic to put up signs saying dudes should not make U-turns in the middle of the night on residential streets in order to pick up other dudes to... If you wake up at 4 a.m. to the sound of revving motors and heavy grunting in Silver Lake, just understand that in the war for tolerance, everyone has to make sacrifices. They are apparently putting up a new sign in Silver Lake, however. Meanwhile, big news from the world of American football last week. Finally, the American public gets to see the classic love story play out. Cheerleader and high school football coach. It appears the storied former head coach of the New England Patriots, Bill Belichick, has secured a brand new trophy for his already crowded display case. News broke the 72-year-old stone-faced 8-time Super Bowl champ is dating a 23-year-old competitive cheerleader. She apparently took him for a fellow 23-year-old because he was wearing a hoodie.
How do you do, fellow kids?
What?
And he apparently took her for a 23-year-old former cheerleader. The new couple met on an airplane back in 2021 when Belichick struck up a conversation with the then college student about her homework, which isn't weirdly creepy at all. From Grandpa. They exchanged phone numbers, then allegedly took it to the next level after 2023, when photos like this started popping up of them on vacation in Croatia. A lot of people on the internet are really mad about this. They call the relationship disgusting. Say, how's this age gap okay? He should be ashamed of himself. He's old enough to be her coach. To these people I say, it's Pride Month. How dare you? Love is blind, you judgmental fascists, you hateful people. The left, who have implanted the idea that everyone's sexual preference is their own business and literally anything goes, have apparently found the two people they won't let each other. In their eyes, you can be a man who is a woman, who is attracted to a woman who identifies as a hummingbird. Then you can have a polyamorous relationship with the color green, and participate in group sex with a half-eaten pistachio, and then they file taxes together because that's love. But if, God forbid, you fall for a college coed who can do the splits while Tootsie Roll by the 69 Boys Place, you are evil. Well, I wish Bill the best with his new love interest. Don't let those closed-minded gerontophobics bring you down with their selective outrage and blind hatred. We've even created a flag to support your love. We'll get to more on this in just 1 second. First, the cost of living is up almost 20% from 2021. Families everywhere are feeling that burden. And yet, legacy media keeps saying, no, the economy's fine. It's Joe Biden's economy. It's just great. In fact, a recent Business Insider article makes the case the American people are to blame because they just don't understand how awesome they have it. This is Gaslighting 101. Let me help you find ways to save money in this turbulent economic climate. One way to do that is by switching on over to Pure Talk. If you're one of many American families looking to cut down on your monthly bills, you need to start with your cell phone service. I recommend Pure Talk because it's both affordable and reliable. Pure Talk is rapidly becoming the wireless company of choice for conservatives. Plus, it's great for families because the more lines you add, the more you save. Not to mention, Pure Talk is veteran-led. Instead of funding DEI initiatives, they fund basic services for vets who have served this country. 100% of their customer service team is located right here in the United States. If you're looking for ways to save money for your family, I highly recommend switching on over to Pure Talk. Visit puretalk.com/Shapiro to explore their offers. When you make the switch, you'll get an additional 50% off your very first month of service. Visit puretalk.com/Shapiro to upgrade your cell phone service to America's most dependable 5G network and save an extra 50% off your very first month of coverage. That's puretalk.com/Shapiro today. Well, meanwhile, despite the fact that around 100 hostages remain held captive by barbaric monsters, the main story this past week across every news outlet imaginable, yes, former boy bander, aging pop star Justin Timberlake was arrested for DUI when he was pulled over in the Hamptons. He refused to take a breathalyzer. The New York Times covered his arrest like it was the naming of a new pope. They posted his mugshot and a video of Timberlake driving the Sag Harbor streets earlier that night, as if any of this is like real, actual news. The only time I want to see NSYNC mentioned by the media outlet is if that one dude brings back this hairstyle. With that said, it's honestly kind of sad that these people turned into these people. Almost as if Hollywood is a terrible place, and child stardom is the worst thing that can happen to you outside of being invited to a playdate at Michael Jackson's house, which is what child stardom in Hollywood kind of is. Perhaps the funniest part of this story was Timberlake's actual response about him being pulled over. Apparently he muttered, "This is going to ruin the tour." Actually, to which the cop responded, "What tour?" Point to the cop. Alrighty, folks, we'll be back here next week when we will suffer once more together through Ben After Dark.